Great, cool. So welcome to PreProds. This is the same as the one in the fall, but just a reminder because a lot of times we have new show chairs, new board members, etc. So this should cover basically all the meetings, all the forums, all the things you have to do to put on a show in the spring. So first, I like to do just sort of a who's who. So this is your Platt House crew. Most of you probably know some, if not all of these folks. Lori, Megan, and Sarah have been here. Dawn is our new administrative coordinator. So she's at the front desk. So if you see her, say hello and welcome her. And then the Platt House email, which goes to all of us, is down the bottom of the screen there. Platt House, if you don't know, is on social media. Find them on Facebook, Instagram, Flickr. They're also on YouTube. They're around, so anything you need. The Flickr has a lot of pictures from like Carnegie Hall and events around Platt House. And then anything you want to find information about, anything that's upcoming, all the shows that are upcoming always get advertised on their Facebook and their Instagram. The Pack Shop, that's us. I'm Amanda. I'm the technical advisor. Michelle is our shop supervisor. So if you don't see me in the shop, you will see Michelle. And Nick is our shop assistant. He is here usually to help with strikes or load-ins. And you can find the Pack Shop on Facebook, Instagram, and then our email is packshop4100, which also happens to be our address, 4100 Walnut Street. There, most of our stuff, like if we're gonna do a tech training or we're gonna promote anything, it's gonna be on our Instagram. So it's really great to follow our Instagram, just because we will put out, like, we're doing saw training tonight, and we're doing a cricket maker for beginners later in the week. So we've got lots of training sessions, but we also do promote on there as well. Your tech chair, if you don't know, is Jess Lynn. Jess tech Slack channel. So if you want to get updates about either tech trainings or you want to do gigs, you want to get paid for gigs, or if there's something coming up, you can get join the tech Slack and you will be in all the know for all of that. So if you are at the Penn Museum, so that's Rainey, Widener, and Harrison, you will also deal with Allison. She is the museum coordinator, so you will have your meeting with me. We'll go over all this in a minute, but you'll have all your meeting with me, and then you will also coordinate with her so she can make sure that the doors are open for you, that you can get in, etc. Visual sound, you'll meet with Dawn. Dawn is oversees visual sound, so if you submit your check writer and there are questions, you'll probably hear from me, but you will also hear from Dawn as well. They will get you all your microphones and all of that stuff. If you are in a Perlman Quad Space, which is now University Life Space and Events Management, you will likely hear from Alexis, who is our event coordinator. That's if you're in class of 49, Irvine, Bodek, or Iron Gate. If you need pipe and drape, things like that, it'll be Alexis. That phone number that's in an orange box, if you're in any of these venues, I will email it to you, but you also want to keep that phone number on handy. That's if you are scheduled to be in Iron Gate and it's not open when it's supposed to be, you can call that number and they'll have someone come over and open it. Same thing if there's a problem in there and you can't find the production supervisor, you can call that number. It is also in the email we send you during load in. So don't worry about writing it down if you miss it. So if you are in Penn Lives Arts, which is the Zell and the Prince, you now have Liz Dean as your contact. Liz has taken over for Santino. Santino is still around, but if you've interacted with Santino before, you now will interact with Liz. She came the very end of last semester, so she's still trying to figure things out. So we are working together to get all your shows done, but just so you know that the contact for the Prince or the Zell is now Liz. Okay, production process. I know there's some things happening in the chat. I will get to them at the end because I can't see them right now because I'm screen sharing. So in theory, you've already gotten all your rights. You've done auditions and tech interviews and all of that stuff. So you are now here at attending a pre-prod meeting. Your next step will be your 6-week meeting, and that is with me. Your 6-week meeting happens 6 weeks before the Sunday you load in. So you will get an email from me the week before that that says, hey, your 6-week meeting is coming up. This is how to schedule it. This is who should be at it. I'm going to go over it a little bit more in detail afterwards, but just so you know. And at that 6-week meeting, you have your set designs approved. You can begin building. If you are in the Prince or the Zell, you will have your 6-week meeting with me. And then you will also have a 6-week meeting with Liz. And then you will do most of the rest of your meetings with PLA, that's Penn Live Arts, for your production process. So your next form or time you'll hear from me is your tech rider. That's at 4 weeks before your load in. And that is where you do all your audio requests, your equipment requests, your you put your show hours, all of that stuff. Oops. At 4 weeks, if you are in the museum, you should also be emailing Allison at the museum. Again, I'll go over all this in your 6-week meeting. So if you forget or whatever, it's fine. We'll go over it again. And that's also confirming what times you need to be in spaces, etc. Then the next sort of thing that happens is your 3-week show form and space share contract are due to Platt House. Megan usually emails that out if you haven't gotten it from your pack exec. Your show form helps market your shows. And then you print your posters, programs, tickets, flyers. You coordinate your load in and equipment pickup times with us at the pack shop. We will email you if you are expecting equipment or you're loading out from us. You will hear from us and we'll say, when are you coming to get your stuff? So we know when to be here. Then you have your tech week with your allotted amount, of hours. And then you will get an email from us during strike or during your tech week about strike or equipment return. Please answer that email. I know strike or tech week gets really, really crazy. But it's important for us so we know when we have to be here to pick up your stuff. And also so we can coordinate so there aren't 2 groups showing up at this exact same time, dropping equipment off, or there's a big set or something. So we have enough space in the parking lot as well as we're here to get your stuff. You do your show, you strike your show, hopefully everything goes smoothly. And then 2 weeks after your Saturday show, you submit your show report, and that is with your ticket revenue and your shows and who worked on your shows, etc. Okay, so I know that's a lot. I'm gonna go into the forms really briefly. Again, I know this is a ton of information. You'll get most of it again at your 6-week meeting. So don't panic if you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what's happening. Your 6-week meeting. So if you can't find any of the forms or any of the links or anything like that, you can always go to the Platt House website, which is the address there right under the 6-week meeting. In the pack shop, there's a thing that says pack shop forums that has the link for the 6-week meeting, the tech rider. If you need to request software, if you want to borrow our Adobe Premiere Pro license or anything like that, that's all on that form. So at your 6-week meeting, it is typically your producer and at least one other person. It depends on what kind of group you are. Sometimes a cappella groups have your music director and your show chair. Some groups have, the president and the producer. Some groups do the treasurer. A lot of tacky groups and some of the SMAC groups do their technical director and their director. Usually it's better to have 2 people at this, so 2 people are getting the information, but that is up to you and your schedules to figure out. Groups that are building a set or large props, because sometimes dance groups build very large props. Make sure you have set designs or your build plans ready for me so that I can see them, so I can say, yep, you're great, go ahead and build that, or no, you can't build a 3-story set and set it on fire, that's not allowed. Just so I know what's happening. It also helps me to communicate with our campus partners so that we know what's going where and what groups might need. Again, you'll get the email about that. Make sure your group contact sheet is up to date. That's the one with your roster that you send to pack exec. It's important anyways, but it's super helpful for me, especially when boards change over in December, so that I know who I'm talking to and that I'm talking to the right person. Also, side note, if your group has a group email, let me know, because that's much easier for me to keep track of every year and every semester than trying to find an individual person. So just make a Google group or something like that. Your show form. So your show form collects information to help us market your shows. It has your show title, description, your venue, your dates, your ticketing, all of that stuff. The QR code here goes to the show form, but again, it also is available to be emailed to you. If you want to opt into the community ticketing program, which I'll go into next, all of that. So it helps promote your show and gets word out for you. So the community ticketing program helps distribute free tickets to students and community members. So if you think your show is amazing, which they all are, you can donate some community tickets, and that goes to the Penn community as well as the larger Philly community. So the ASAP kids are able to get some tickets. Platt House will contact you and coordinate all of that. You can donate for one night, you can donate for all of your nights. Just don't sell the tickets you donate so that the tickets are guaranteed to be there. Tech Rider. Okay, so if you are a space share or a collaboration, you need to fill out your Tech Rider together. If you are a space share, you need to leave at least 1 hour between the end of one show and the start of another, and that's to allow time for one audience to get out and the other audience to get in. It's always better to leave a little bit of extra time if you can, but it really helps, especially if a show goes over or, you know, whatnot, so that everyone has their equal amount of time and is appropriate. All equipment requests are on the Tech Rider. So if you need mics, projectors, dance floors, keyboards, mic stands, DI boxes, anything like that, it's going to go on the Tech Rider. And then I distribute it out to how many mics you're getting from the pack shop, if you're getting them from PLA, if you're getting them from Visual Sound, depending on what venue you're in and where your stuff is coming from. If you are in a PLA space, the Penn Live Arts space, which is the Prince or the Zell, you will only need to fill out my Tech Rider if you need microphones. If you don't need microphones, you don't need to fill it out. Just send me an email and be like, hey, we don't need anything from you, so I know I'm not going to be looking for your Tech Rider. It's just helpful. PLA has their own Tech Rider. You will fill that out with them. Information you need for your Tech Rider, I think I've said this before, but equipment needed combined for all groups. So if your group needs 5 microphones and the other group needs 25 microphones, just let me know. There's a space for you to divide out, so you can say like it's 10 for the pack shop and 20 for Platt House, so that I know when I'm dividing it who's getting what. Your performance venue, a contact person for all groups, especially if you're a space share, because a lot of times I get the information for one person and not for the other group, and it's harder to track people down if there are questions about it. Your ticketing method, if you're going to ticket or you're going to use Prom and Quad work light hours, that's only applicable if you're in IGT. I will go over that in 1 minute. And your tech hours combined for all groups, and then you can divide out. So you can, it's tech hours for an entire day. So you will say from I don't know, from 4 to midnight is the day, and then you can say from 4 to 6 is pack shop, and from 6 to midnight is Platt House. There's a box for you to say that, and that just helps with billing, especially if you're space sharing with a independent group or a group that it maybe billed differently. It just helps us with billing at the end, and that is due 4 weeks before your load-in. The show report due to Saturday, 2 weeks after your show. Again, that's the one from Platt House that is like, hey, what happened? Everything go good? Cool. So here's all the other stuff. So if you're in Iron Gate, you can't be in the space until after 1 p.m. on a Sunday. And that's because it is a shared building and it also acts with a church. So on Sundays, 1 o'clock, not 12:55, not 12:58, 1 o'clock is the earliest you can get into Iron Gate. Your tech days end at midnight. They really end at like 11:55. You should be walking out the door and be out the door by midnight. So cleaned up, everything's out, you're done. So don't let your rehearsals run until midnight. Stop them a little bit ahead of time. The Thursday before Easter, this will affect some groups. You can't be in the space until after 9 p.m. Again, I'll go over this in your Tech Rider, but it's part of that space share with, as it's also a church, and they do a Thursday night service. So just know that if you're that week, your Thursday will get a little screwy. In both IGT and the class of 49, there is a new light board. It is an Element 2, which is the big brother of the Element that was in there. So everything is exactly the same, except it's shinier and new. For IGT and for 49, it's a brand new light board that is the exact same one that's in IGT and the Prince. So you should be able to, if you can do one, you can do all three, which is very exciting. A sample tech schedule for IGT. So IGT only has work light hours. Work light hours are time in the space without access to the light and soundboard. So that's it's really great for groups that need to do spacing rehearsals, or blocking rehearsals, time that you need to be in the space, but you don't need the light and soundboard. You don't have to use work light hours, but you can. Work light hours are 2-hour minimums and they're right before your tech hours. So you can't do work light hours from 12 to 2 and then come back at 5. It would be 3 to 5 and then 5 to whatever is your tech hours. Again, this is only IGT. It can get a little confusing. If you're not familiar with it, we'll go over it in more detail in your 6-week meeting. Shop hours, reserve your shop hours at the link. It's the same link it's been for the last 2 years. For that, shop costumes, props, etc. Anytime you want to come to the shop, fill that out for us. You can book one day, you can book a bunch of dates, you can book a repeating schedule. Just lets us know that you are planning to come in. Reminders that all your build plans need to be approved by me before you start building, and you cannot start building or pulling or tagging, etc., until you have had your 6-week meeting. And that's just for space in the shop so that we can accommodate everybody. No sandals ever. I know it's going to get warm and everyone's going to be wearing flip-flops, and that's great. No sandals, no ballet flats, anything like that. You're going to end up with screwing your foot, and that's not going to be fun. Clean up at the end of your shop hours, and then we don't supply consumables, which is like tape, paint, batteries, thread, staples, sandpaper, etc. Batteries also for microphones, we don't supply them, so you will get an email from me about microphones if you're getting pack shop mics. That will let you know if you're getting AA mics that use AA batteries or 9-volt, and then you'll have to buy accordingly. Microphones, our pack shop mics are free for groups to use depending on availability. If you're in a really busy week, you might get 1 or 2 mics from us. If you're not in a really busy week, it just sort of depends. You might get all your mics from us. Again, just sort of depends on availability and what's going on. We don't supply batteries. Send at least 2 people to pick them up because they are not super heavy, but they are super awkward if you're carrying them across campus. The picture on the left is the bottom one is a rolling rack, and then the ones on top are ones that you have to carry. And then the shopping bag is likely what you'll get with your mics in it. So bring 2 people. It just makes life a little easier, or bring one of those resident carts. Mics need to be returned right after your last show, as they'll probably be going out the next day. So if your show is at Saturday, again, part of that Tech Week email I'll send you is when you're bringing stuff back. I'm always here on Saturdays. I'm here like 14, 20 hours. I'm here all the time. So don't be like, oh, I didn't know if you're going to be there. I'm going to be here, or I will give you a door code to get in at the top of the stairs to drop your stuff off. Make sure that everything comes back with the mics. Even if you just hand them to somebody, make sure everything comes back. It's labeled on the case what is in there. Make sure all the antennas, all the power cords, all of that stuff comes back. We will charge you, or we will ask you to buy something if it comes back and is missing. And that's just so we can keep the stock up for everybody. U-Hauls, this is really only for tacky groups and some smack groups, but at groups, who knows, you might want one. That has the facility you rent from. Book them early, book both of your dates at the same time, your strike and your load-in dates. Make sure the truck is big enough for the stuff you need, and that your driver is comfortable driving it. If your driver isn't comfortable driving a 20-foot truck and you can get away with 2 10s, do 2 10s or make 2 trips. You can always park your truck in the pack shop lot. You just have to let us know so we can give you a tag so they don't tow your U-Haul. So you can pick your truck up at like 9 in the morning on your Saturday show date and just park it in the truck, park it in the parking lot, and it'll be there for when your show is over. You have to be over 21 to drive the truck. That's a U-Haul rule. And you need to complete driver training and knowledge link. It says it's driver training for van drivers, and that's a pen rule to help cover you with insurance and whatnot. And we will ask you to confirm your truck load in 2 weeks before your show so that we know you have a truck and you're good to go for that. Also, U-Haul is notorious for giving out all of their trucks, which is another reason why it's really great to just get it first thing in the morning and then you have the truck. Look at the schedule too, because if a group is striking and you can just get there, like you guys can go in together on the truck. So the the group that has it Saturday can have it Sunday for load-in. It'll make your life a lot easier. So look at the schedules and talk to each other about that. And if you don't know, if you're like, I have no clue who to talk to, just ask the Pack Shop crew. We usually know who's coming and going. If you have anything about any questions about how to do a show, the Pack Handbook is on the Platt House website. The link is there, but you can also just Google Platt House and it'll pop right up. It's up in the top toolbar, and that will give you all the contacts, all the information about doing your show and whatnot. All right, that was a lot of information that I ran through pretty quickly. Let me stop the screen share so I can see the chat.